Coming up on this week's episode of the Ask Women podcast, we have a very interesting new dating application that is out there. When I first heard about it, I wasn't so into it, but now I am very into it over all other dating apps. And then we also talk about how to meet women online, how to write to them, what not to write to them. Anyway, it's a fantastic show, so keep listening.
Welcome to the Ask Women podcast. We're back. We're together. Marnie is here. This is a reuniting experience, and we're here with Charles Macau. Thanks for coming.
No, okay, now we got to
God damn it.
Yeah.
Did I say, what was it?
Totally wrong.
Masao?
Masao.
Oh,
There were so many ways you could say that wrong, but that's how
yeah. I went with the C. Right. You are the creator of the dating app called Cove, which is so interesting how it works. It's really different from the other apps. Tell us how it works.
It's very different.
It's very different, but I think it was time for something very different.
Definitely.
I think there's some widespread issues that you see across other dating apps that make people, I think, more open to something different. So what we're doing is directly addressing the engagement issue that you see in other apps.
Engagement issue being that
women don't respond.
Yes.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. So like any production domain, you're going to get a few that are responsible for most of I guess you could say traffic or output. And it's no different in a dating app environment that you're going to get 90% of the traffic or eyeballs that are going to just say 10% of the profiles.
Yeah.
And the data is suggesting that most of these profiles are women's profiles. And so how do you set something up so that these people actually participate and engage? Because in
you
today's
get hot men
environment,
on the apps.
yeah, I mean, even then you get
Rich
into
hot
other
men.
issues.
Yeah.
So,
Well, there you go, rich hot men.
There
yeah,
you
no,
go.
I'd
Now
love to
everybody
hear your
hates us.
guys' opinion on this, because even there's not so much engagement as you would think. So we've got two pieces of data from iDate conference. Believe it or not, that there's a conference around dating. Yeah.
I've spoken at it.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's like, it should be called you date, because I don't date.
Yeah,
I can't get one.
I don't want to.
I can't get one.
So they say 1 out of 30 messages actually get responded to. And you say, how could that be if there's mutual interest and mutual right swipes? So that engagement issue we're addressing in a, I guess.
Do they know why?
Well, I have a hunch, and we've actually collected a lot of data in just building this platform, and I think it just comes down to the fact that if you have a profile that will attract a lot of attention, and just say you have 30 or 40 or 50 guys that want to meet you all at once, well, I mean, this might be a shocker to some people, but you know, some people lie about their age, some people lie about their interests, some people lie about their marital status, their pictures. Yep. Their personality, their relationships, their interests. And so even if they don't lie about that stuff, then sometimes you just don't have compatibility with other people, or some people are actually mentally not balanced. So if you have 40 people that want to meet you online, are you going to go down this path to explore all these opportunities and all these options that you have when maybe 95% don't turn out positive or the way you want?
Right.
So we recognize that, and we say, okay, if you expect somebody to constantly engage and go down that path when the success rate is so low, well, good luck with that, because we're seeing right now that it doesn't work. So what we've come up with is sort of bottling real life into a dating app environment where essentially in a
where
private...
women want money.
Well, in a private
because
community...
I think we're beating around the bush right now. So I think just to get to the point real quick for listeners, I think, because this is the most interesting part, women are essentially paid or incentivized to respond to go on dates.
Absolutely no, and
okay,
no. And so that's why this is really cool to unpack this.
Got from you just now, though.
Okay, then I would do a very poor job in explaining it. Women are incentivized just to be on the app. So it's just being on the app. So
not to
it's
respond.
even a step forward on that one.
But it's not
paid
for
to
response.
respond to you, just be on the app. They're incentivized.
So if you're at an event or a party and you're a guy and you want to meet a girl, do you think you have a better chance to meet her if she doesn't want to be there and is in a bad mood, or if she actually wants to be in that event? And it's kind of the same way. Like we think we're building a community where people want to be there. So when you say incentivize engagement, it's really interesting, because you say, well, how do you incentivize engagement?
But didn't you just say that to me when I asked you to explain it to me?
Right.
Am I mishearing?
No, that's exactly my definition of the site
I'm
as
confused.
well, what you said.
Okay.
So
that's what I just
incentivizing
I don't see the
engagement.
difference.
Before we started, that's what it sounded like.
Well, one, you say you're getting paid to respond to message. That's not true. because the algorithm and the logic is such that you're just getting points accrued in your account just by being on the app. Like literally you could check in on a Wednesday and we'd be like, hey, happy Wednesday, you win a point.
And then the points turn into what exactly?
They turn into either cash or you're able to siphon it off to a charity.
So you're being paid to be on the site.
What's that?
So you're being paid to be on the site.
You're getting paid to be on the site. You're getting paid.
You should go into politics.
Yes,
or like be a lawyer or something.
At the core of it, that is what is happening. But what you are finding is that it's not like a woman's just taking $20 to sit on the site and respond to people and be like, whatever, I don't care about these people. But it's something to motivate her to be more
to be open,
engaged, and to be
unless
open.
you get the conversation started, you're not going to know who you have chemistry with, and there's no conversation today. So we could say, okay, well, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't have to motivate engagement. Well, okay, then engagement won't happen. So which one do you want?
Right.
And the thing is that it's not directly transferred into dollars in your pocket. The majority of the women who are using the site actually take the points earned to donate to charities.
Well, we're about to launch. Which
is really
what they
cool.
do with the points, it's kind of up to them. But what's even more interesting in this, because now what we've done is we preload it, or we've gotten people that we opened applications to women for this community about 2 weeks ago. So we've got thousands of applications, which is kind of cool. We want to make sure that we understand that 10 to 15% of profiles in online dating are fakes. So we do a really good job in terms of like vetting, and we vet through Instagram. We want to make sure that they're real. We actually want to make sure that they have some engagement in Instagram that would make us believe that they're the ones that are going to drive traffic in our site.
So how did they find out about you guys to send an application?
Because we have podcasts like this one that reach millions of people all over the world.
Is it? Is that way?
Boom.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, he had reached out to me as well because you're trying to get influencers in the dating community to be a part of this, because there is also a coaching component on the app where other experts can distribute their content and their advice of advising people how to actually date and behave while they're dating. So it's really helpful. When we did have our initial phone call, I will tell you that I was like very standoffish towards this because I didn't like the concept. I coach men. We talk to men all the time, and our job is to protect them, give them the best advice possible.
Protect them because they're pussies.
But overall, protect them from being taken advantage of by women. And when I did first hear about this, I was like, what's going to stop a woman who is already married with 3 children going onto this website and just using this as her income? And so you actually had a really good response to that in how you were stopping that from happening, of people taking advantage of this system and just using it as like a part-time job.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess a couple things. Number one, we're not talking about a lot of money. So let's start there. Let's start there. And then
I know Chris is like, I'll give up Uber.
And I don't Uber anymore, by the way.
Oh, you're on Lyft too? Yeah, I can't stand Uber.
Oh, wise guy. Oh, I thought you meant driving. No, he's not kidding. No, I was driving Uber for a little while.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but I'm not driving it. I am taking Lyft more now than Uber anyway. But
interesting. That's a different story.
Anyway,
she's a living her dream.
Before directly answering your question in terms of like what we do, so people aren't really gaming the system or going in with the intention to game the system. What's fascinating about, and I was kind of blown away about this, but we did some surveys of the women that are on the platform already, in terms of like saying what motivates you the most. And so part of them are saying, yeah, I want to make sure that if I go down these paths and I give 20 guys or 30 guys a shot, that in the event that 19 don't work out, that at least I don't feel like I'm wasting my time. So you can understand that point of view, and that's where the reward system kind of kicks in. And then the other half are more motivated by the fact that the guy's got to put something on the line. So it shows that he's genuinely, authentically interested, because the feedback that we're getting is they say, every guy's just swiping right. They're not really interested in me. They're not being selective. Yeah. They don't really care. They're just copy pasting like the first line. So that's a driver for women for this platform as well, too, which is really interesting. So now to get back to how what we do on our side so people don't game the system. So we have our team in Toronto in Canada that vets incoming applications to be part of this community. And so we'll take a look at their Instagram feed, and if they literally have, well, and I know this is a little subjective, but if they have questionable content in there or objectionable content, well, no. If they have links to other apps where we see that that's what they do, like they literally are just, milking guys for money. We don't approve them, even if they have high engagement. If they have posts that, just a couple days before it's saying, oh, the love of my life, and you can tell like you're my soulmate, and they're in a relationship. Nope, we don't want that too. So we want to maintain the integrity of this platform and bring in.
So you're doing a little bit of like matchmaking services. You're doing background checks or other companies, not like Match.com or Tinder. They don't really
it's a free for
go
all
through applications.
No, not at
and
all.
see who's
It's
real and who's not real. It's not just like Bob saying, okay, she's hot, bring her on the site.
No, not at all. Not at
That's
all.
a lot of work, though.
It is a lot of work, but that's why you make a quality community, and you're not going to.
That's why it's $1,000 a month to use the app. I'm just joking. I'm totally joking with you.
Oh, geez,
Holy
everybody
moly.
just turned
No,
off.
I'm just joking. No. No, but it sounds like it sounds like you have the same intention as us, that you really want the dating experience to be a beneficial one for both sides. And once you explained more about what it is that you're doing, not that I understood it, but I thought it was actually a very good idea, because for a lot of women, for a lot of men, the first 5 minutes is very challenging for them, or the first message online is very challenging for them. And if you do have somebody who's getting like a little nudge to give a little bit more love towards the person that's writing to them, and there's a reason that they're incentivized to continue the chat and give that person the confidence that they're responding back, something wonderful can actually blossom from there. And there's more opportunity, because usually that first interaction doesn't go off as well as planned for the man or for the woman. But what you're doing is allowing for the extra few minutes that people actually need to see if there's something there, which I think is wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is audio, but look at my eyes. Like seriously, our intentions are so pure here. We feel like you can throw checklists out the door at times when you actually get in a conversation. You see who you have to have chemistry, but we're just like, I think no one trusts anybody. Everybody's in a rush. It's like, if you don't create or facilitate this sort of interaction by means of injecting some sort of motivation in there, I don't think these conversations will happen. Yeah. And then we also do things so that, a woman can only accept so many invitations from a guy to meet in the Cove in a given week. So she's got to be selective as well.
Oh, yeah. So that was another way that you were
really
limiting
cool.
it as well.
But yeah, the intentions are super
limiting your ability to be a hoe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and totally game it. But I think we land, I think there is a massive market, or at least a big enough market, for the people that want to right swipe and then just say, hey, down to fuck, and great, yeah, let's go. And then the other end of the spectrum, you have an eHarmony, which is just like, who has 3 hours to put together a profile?
Right.
And we land somewhere in the middle. Like, we are not for everybody on a couple different levels, like, because it is it's a private community, and then obviously there's a cover charge component that the guy has to pay to the house. But like, it's not a hookup app. And it's like, there's a lot of people that I think are, and we've got this feedback from the community too. It's like, do you think everybody's into like matching and then saying, hey, DTF, and then taking it offline right away?
Well,
no, not a lot of people are.
I'm a comedian, but I've now kind of ventured over into like working with some guys who listen to the show on their dating profiles and stuff. And I want to take this opportunity to break everyone's burst everyone's bubble, because a lot of these guys so far that I've talked to, they are new to the dating app world and experience, and they go into it like it's Disneyland. Like, wow, I'm here and there's all these people and it's so exciting. Yeah. And then they send their first message and they don't get a response, because they think everyone else is as excited as they are to have access to all these people. And they'll send this message that's like so long, and this is me and I'm here. and then they're just like, what? So, I think this episode is kind of a wake up call to tell them, like, women don't respond that well. And I'm sorry, but it's not that easy. But apps like this will make it easier.
And it's not you, dude.
And
it's not responding because of you, but they don't know
That's
you
the most
yet.
important message.
It's because there's so many fucking people. And like, it's just, you can just keep going and going and going. And like, if someone's not jumping right out at you, you know that you have literally 5 million more people to choose from. If you move to a big city.
No, but that's exactly how it is. It's that people are not that they're not into it, but they're not.
They get a little jaded or a little bit
just like, oh, whatever, there's another one around the corner. It's not that big a deal. Well, now that we have the experts for analyzing messages, I did want to read a couple of message exchanges from one of my clients and see what you guys think. So the women are not being paid to respond to these messages.
The women aren't getting paid to respond either on ours.
Right, but
by the way.
sorry, I didn't mean
There's
to say
no-
that. But
there's
there's no
no-
incentive for them. So I think that was supposed to be a joke that didn't really work out as well as I thought it would. Okay, so I want to hear your feedback, and I'll do a man's voice and a woman's voice. You can hear.
Do you want me to read it so it makes more sense? Like with you?
Well, some of them don't even have responses.
Oh,
you
okay, then no.
So this one. Right. Okay, so here's what he wrote. Hey, Paris, love your travel pics. I see that you've been to the Colosseum as well, smiley face. Where else did you go in Italy? No response. So what do you think about this opener?
It's because she's probably been asked that. If it fits in her profile, she's already been asked that question.
Yeah.
And she's not turned on by his profile.
Okay.
So that's a combination
he's
to not respond.
Very good looking, and his profile is awesome. Just letting you know.
Really?
So
Wow.
I should give you some
Can I
background.
see it?
Chalk one up for the Cove because, again, it's not about the opener, and it's obviously not about the profile. It's not about the guy. They haven't even had a chance to explore and look at bottleneck.
Yeah.
Right here.
Exactly. Okay. So let me go to the next message. But let me just say something. So
Is this going to another message of the same guy?
He has an MBA. He's really witty, and just saying, like, you would have given him like an A+ for profile.
Wow.
If you were to see it. I wish I
Okay.
could read his profile, but it was perfect, and his like pictures were awesome. Okay, so here's the next one. She had asked a question. It's sort of cut off, but something about Thanksgiving. How about you? And he said, yeah, spending time and stuffing my face with the fam and relatives. Did you travel? And then she wrote, haha, that's great. Is your family here in New York? No, it's actually one of the first years that I didn't travel. Yeah, most of my family spent some time in NJ as well. What's your number? I think it's probably easier to communicate there.
It's way too soon for the number.
Okay, that's what I thought as
Way
well.
too soon. You have to have at least, I would say, 15 minutes of good back and forth to going for the number. That's like aggressive. That's just walking up to a girl in the street and you're like, hey, how's it going? She responds, and then you go, give me your number. And then you're
it's
like,
better if we do this, over the phone.
over a date. And it's like, whoa.
Yeah, what are your thoughts?
It's too fast.
Yeah, there is a sweet spot, right? In terms of
there
they've
is.
done some studies, and what we've kind of thought is there's a sweet spot between 6 and 10 interactions and messages back and forth when you're saying, okay, this should either evolve or like let's move on, sort of thing. So kind of took that into consideration with ours. So dating apps do a really good job in connecting people, but they do a terrible job in actually motivating the conversation. They do an even worse job in progressing that conversation. So in the Cove, if you're able to connect and match with somebody, then you've got 7 interactions back and forth by messaging, and the messaging actually locks. We say, okay, after 7 messages back and forth, move this onto voice, and then it obligates
Yeah,
I like
an
that.
evolution.
That is a good idea. Even though I think that's a little soon.
You think seven's too soon?
Seven's a little too soon, but if you have no choice, then the guy can't take responsibility for it.
Yeah, so at any point, the woman can always send her number and say, here, take it offline. So the messaging isn't locked for her.
What
but
if it's locked and you haven't gotten to the point to send your number yet? And then you're like, fuck.
voice note. So then you go on the voice note and you can just say, like, you can continue the conversation, but it's got to evolve. And then
Wow.
after a certain amount of voice notes, you can
this
evolve.
feature I like even better. This is what you should be
It's
leading
so pathetic,
with.
though, that we need this much guidance to be able to interact.
It is what it is.
But it is what it is. It's a
What?
necessary
It's saying
evil.
shit or get off the pod. Do something
I know,
and
but
let
it's-
the other person know. That's what I
and
like
get
about
deeper in the
this.
It would just be
conversation.
nice if we knew that on our own, but
I
we
know.
don't.
But
Well,
also,
I think we do know it on our own. We're just too afraid, or we're not interested enough at that point.
also, how much can you tell just texting with somebody? You just can't. You have to listen to voice. You got to see personality.
Yes.
And so that's the next phase of it, is once you've done a certain amount of voice notes back and forth, it unlocks video chat or video date functionality within Cove without sharing personal information. So now you can get a really good sense, go on a 5-minute video date, and then that should seal the deal whether you guys meet out in person or not.
Cool. A long time ago, when I was working as a brand ambassador for different brands, I had one of the worst jobs, and it was like 6 girls, and we had to pretend we were part of a bachelorette party and go out to a bar, and we were
didn't tell me
actually
about this.
disguised as a dating app, or it wasn't even a dating app. This was like years ago when not everyone had a smartphone, so it was actually just like a dating service, I guess. But what the idea was, and I think the company failed, didn't have enough like to go on, but it was essentially a card, and you'd order a card with a fake number, and so it wouldn't be your real details, but it would connect to your phone. And so you would be like, I like you, here's this, but I want to feel safe giving you my information or whatever. And so that didn't work because it was that standing alone, but you guys kind of have a little piece of that, but it works within a bigger picture of a better idea.
And that bigger picture also includes services of people like yourself that are able to provide guidance from I'm looking for a date to actually I have a date, to I have a family, to I have kids, and like what should I do in these situations? So,
I love this feature.
Yeah, I do have a quick question. You said something about a woman would have a much better time if she's somewhere she actually wants to be. Is there an incentive when you actually go out with somebody, or like why is she in a better mood going somewhere?
No, I used that was an analogy. Maybe it wasn't a great one. It was kind of saying, pretend you're at an event. Pretend you're anywhere, somebody's in a place where they don't want to be, or they're looking to get out of there. You're not going to get their attention.
Right,
you're
that's
not
the
going to get a good
equivalent.
shot.
You're half-assing it.
I got it. I got it.
Versus
I thought you
they
meant
like actually being in our app. You know, funny enough, we haven't done anything, and we've got 2 weeks where we're just doing like daily kind of surveys and getting some unbelievable feedback.
So the app's only been up for 2 weeks.
Yeah, only women have been able to apply right now.
Wow, so it's wow.
And then, and the funny thing is, if you're one of the first guys to come into the app, obviously there's an application process too. They got a link in. well, no,
Yes,
guys
there's
have to
two
make
of
the
them.
first move. Guys have to invite, and we can unpack that one too.
Oh, I like that because Bumble, it's women have to make the first move. Obviously, it's a much different, like more simplistic app, but like I hate the fact that women are the first ones that always constantly have to say hello first.
That's so funny. That was the whole purpose.
I know.
For this app that
But
women
I
are now
think
hating.
they were-
That's interesting.
I think they were crowbarring that in to give it a different spin than Tinder.
Well, it was also to help men out, I think. Though.
No, it was
to
help
empower women as well.
It was to help women out,
Or that was their spin.
Right.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But they needed something to differentiate themselves, and I just don't feel like it has enough behind it.
A lot of women love using that site. They do.
Well, I'm not dating anymore. I do have a boyfriend, but when I was dating, I did prefer Bumble over Tinder because of a better quality of person it attracted.
Yeah.
But I didn't like the process.
Because you had to go first.
Yeah, because
Really?
every single time, it's just exhausting, and I am very
Even for you with your quick wit.
well. It gets exhausting when you're constantly with
welcome
every
to
dude.
a man's
I would,
world. I'm just joking.
Well, yes, but not everyone needs to be as witty as me, so it's easier for them.
Right.
But every opener I would have with a guy, I would have to put my all into it. Like I would sit there and just pine over what's the funniest, best, most specific opener, and it would exhaust me. And I was like, "This is," and then
Brian Howie would say, "Hey, welcome to a guy's world."
That's what I just said. I said,
I know.
welcome to
So
man's
guys
world.
get a taste of the women's medicine, or
Yeah. Well,
women's
now you're
medicine.
understanding what it's like on a daily
Totally.
basis for men.
Of course,
And
but I
Kristen's
think
like, turn this off, reverse it
no,
back
I just
to
think it should be able to be either side.
screw equality.
So this is really, I mean, this is something that can obviously be debated, but this kind of just sheds a little light into our why, because like you said, when you first heard about it, when we chatted that day by phone or by Skype, you had this immediate kind of thing in your head about like what this is all about. And instead of understanding the why, because we are, headline reading culture, like label obsessed culture, and that's just the way our brains work. We don't want to work. We want to give it like that label and then move on. What's the next thing I got to think about? And so the why behind this as well is we're considered millions of years of evolution here, where females are nature's gatekeepers at the end of the day. They're the ones who select. They're the ones who decide. And there's millions of years. Obviously, there's exceptions to everything. But for the most part, it's the male species that courts the female species. And there's millions of years of evidence behind this, from mammals that fight, male mammals that fight for the chance to mate with a female species, to birds, male birds that serenade, and then the serenading gives them
I
mating
love
opportunities.
those YouTube videos of that, by the way. Like tropical
It's
birds
incredible.
serenading
It's
other
so
women,
awesome.
women birds.
But then you also got birds, species of birds, males that give gifts in the form of seeds, and if she accepts the gifts, then the female's more likely to mate. And this is down to the insect level.
Imagine if you give those birds cash, what they'll do.
Oh my
So-
God. Or points.
This is, you can't just brush aside millions of years of evolution. Like, this is how we're hardwired. So
Right.
when you consider this combined with real world behavior, you go into a bar, there's going to be a girl that buys a guy a drink, but for every girl that buys a guy a drink, there's probably 20, 30, 40 that are buying a girl a drink. And this bottleneck issue that we see in dating apps are saying, like, let's get people talking, and this seems like the best way and the only way.
So have you had to deal with, I'm not a politically correct person. I am super for acknowledging millions of years of evolution. But are you yet seeing any backlash with like, oh, women, like
heck yeah.
you're just stereotyping us?
Oh, heck.
Yeah.
No. This is empowering women on steroids. No, like, the women really like this.
They're not offended? 'Cause
No, it's the men
it
that are
sounds,
offended.
If you're like this feminist, and I'm not a feminist,
The
women are
feminists love
fine, but
this.
I'm not like in love with us, okay?
The
but
feminists and non-feminists love this.
really,
Yeah.
I would think a feminist would go, Really, you're
You think in order for me to
labeling
use
me
this
because
app,
I
make
want
money.
something out of it for me? Like, it just seems like something that those women would perk up to and get mad at.
No, the people that I got mad, and we kind of giggle about it in Toronto because we've got some people that kind of read the stuff that's coming in, and
Well, you're also Canadian, so you have a lot easier than we do.
well, no, I
insane
mean,
down here.
we could
Americans couldn't make this app.
We couldn't handle it.
really. Anyway, we're getting
It's too
labeled
real.
like social justice warriors. We're getting labeled some of the funniest stuff. Like we're just going, really? Like
You guys seem opposite of the social.
no,
social
exactly.
ju- yeah,
But my
I'm
whole point
confused.
is like even Marty. I looked at some of your stuff before I came over here, and you just did like the most, how would I put it?
Am I
the most
getting insulted or
unapologetic-
am I getting complimented?
No,
No,
the most
unapolog-
neutral like video of all time. You're expressing your opinion on something, and some of the comments on there were ridiculous. Like,
Oh
they
my
took-
God.
So it doesn't kind of
She's a
matter what you do
misogynist,
and what
that's
you
why.
say, right?
Exactly.
And the funny thing is, the one video that I saw was you talking about how guys can get better luck to pick up a girl on Instagram or meet a girl on Instagram. So philosophically, we overlap on a lot of things
Yeah.
because this isn't about give the woman a little credit that you just can't. You're a stranger on the internet that you just can't go out and say, "This is me." Go out with me. Give me your number. It's just like put some time in.
Well,
be
actually-
respectful.
Sorry that I'm interrupting you, but I was going to play this video that a client of mine, it was him just giving feedback on something that we're working on together, and I can play it if you can actually hear it. Do you think I should play it?
We should, but we should.
Oh, we
after
should take
do
a break first. Yes. Okay, so we're going to take a break really quickly, and we will be back.
Hey guys, it's Kristen. Are you having a hard time dating online and not getting any attention to your profile? Are you having a hard time bantering with women? You don't really know what to say. Well, if you want help, you can find me at kristencarney.com/datinghelp. I will help you with your profile, with bantering, so many cool things. You can email me through my website as well if you have any questions. So please feel free to hit me up at kristencarney.com/datinghelp.
All right, we're back. So do you think that if I just hook this up, you could hear what he's saying?
If you play it loud and then put the mic
Okay,
toward
so
the.
let's do
We're
this.
very high tech here.
We are very high tech. Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing the challenge where I go up to people, interact. In the OSA method, like I keep forgetting. Or like, actually, I know how it works. It's just that like it does not match with the situation when I see the girl and what she's looking at. Like for example, she's looking at booty shorts and these things, so I can't really use the OSA method on that. And like I did like 3 approaches.
It's like the perfect.
People, and I feel like women, like at times, like there's these girls I saw at the gym, and I'm like, didn't I see you guys? And one girl's like, I don't know, I don't think so. Like she's trying to she's bullshitting, and there's another girl that I'd ask a question, and we were like talking, and like I try to ask her a question, and she's like, yeah, I think that'll work, like trying to like.
What is he even
not give
saying?
me the chance, like.
He's not really saying
That's
much.
what I was trying to tell you. I'm afraid of, like when I'm taking action and doing this, like I'm afraid of like things like that where women are like they seem.
So this is to piggyback on top of what you were saying. That's why I rudely interrupted you. But it's interesting that.
He articulated whatever I tried to say a lot better, though.
But so
Are
hopefully
you're kidding, right?
That was a little sarcastic.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
that's
Okay.
right.
I can't tell because you're so Canadian and polite that I don't
know,
know
you're
if
like,
you'd
wait, are
venture
you being
into
serious?
sarcasm.
It's that dry,
or are you telling
dry
me to
humor.
fuck off? I can't tell. So I guess I have background on this, so it's a little bit different. But that's interesting because it goes along with the point that I'm trying to make: is that women do not know you. They don't know 28 years, 45 years, whatever it is, of who you are as a person and what you have to offer. They have one sentence or 5
All they can
sentences
tell
from
is
you.
by the spoiler on the back of your cheesy car.
Right.
Like that's all they have to go
That's
off
all
of.
that they're going off of right now. So for this guy who is my client, he is kind of upset that after one sentence being thrown at a woman, she's not like, okay, now I'm open to talking to you and I'll ask you a million questions. She is a little bit more guarded and protected because she doesn't know who he is. And I understand that that's very frustrating for people, and it's frustrating for men that they do have to give a little bit more, but that's why interactions happen. That's why tools like OSA or like LCA or conversation
Or tools
threading,
like him.
right? Or that I talk about all the time, and like apps like the Cove exist, and there's a place for these things because it does take a little bit more time for two people to see whether or not they can in some way trust one another, or that there's enough momentum being built between them to escalate and go to another step. That's what I was trying to say, because you were mentioning that like guys are like, well, I wrote to her and now she should obviously want to be going out with me and giving her number. But that's just not how it works. And it's not a manipulation thing. It's not a testing thing. It's not a bitchy thing. It's just I don't know who the fuck you are, but I have 3 things to go off of, right? And there's millions of
and
you.
the guys,
and I have this happen every single day. So who are you? Tell me who you are first, and then let's see if there's something there. I'm not going to be overly enthused just because you approached me.
And why do you think that when you talk about some clients that give you this feedback, why do you think that they revert to getting a little anxious or impatient or angry versus actually being kind of practical and looking at it from the other point of view? Like you're
Because
one
they're
of
frustrated
100.
because
No,
they don't. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, you're frustrated. I get it. But if you put yourself in the other person's position, like, okay, you're the 100th person today. That's what am I supposed to do? Go down each of these paths, and maybe you're that guy that.
Right.
I
That's
hope
what
you
I've
to be?
said
For them,
to
like,
these
it's a lot of
guys.
effort, a lot of work.
That's what I've said to these guys that I've talked to is that like you are. I'm sorry, and you are special in certain ways, but in this scenario, you're not. There are so many of you, so you have to be. You have to. I mean, even in this your app scenario, you still, even though the men have a lot of things set up to work for them, they still have to be engaging and interesting and funny or whatever. They have to have a personality. You can't just go, oh, well, all of these things are in place. Now I can be as mediocre as possible and I'll still get rewarded.
No, not
you
at
still
all.
have to be.
But you're getting a better opportunity. You're getting better shots.
Definitely.
For sure.
Yeah. You're put in a definitely a better position.
And
so
it
that you
works
have more
with
time to showcase yourself.
Exactly.
Instead of getting shut down and being like, this is frustrating. This is bullshit. Why is she bullshitting me?
Oh yeah, and the pressure for those first messages in Tinder or Bumble, it's just like crazy because then you like that guy, what you read, that was a good opening line. Like it was respectful,
Italy
it wasn't
one?
something. I know it was feeding off her profile, but the guy doesn't have too much more to go.
Totally.
I
definitely.
agree
It's
was fine.
fine. It's just like have a little more personality in it. Like, cool. I've been there too. What else? Like, give me one step further.
Well, that's why, and I know that this client commented on, I didn't know what to do with Osa. Osa doesn't work in that situation because she was looking at booty shorts. But
that's
for
a
things
perfect
like that,
scenario.
It's the perfect scenario for Osa. So Osa is my method for starting conversation with women, so that you talk to them as if you already know them, and you help give a little bit of yourself so that they can be a little bit more educated on who you are. So lots of guys approach women and they throw questions at them, trying to get the woman to open up. Osa has men opening up first, kind of, like what the Cove is doing. So for him or for any other guy, Osa shares information about him. So if she is looking at booty shorts, or if she does have a picture of the Colosseum, the S in Osa, which is observe, share, and ask, allows you to put your own take or spin or personality into the conversation, so that it wasn't just, oh, you've been to the Colosseum. I forget what he even said. Like, it was like a comment that anybody could have made.
Right. That's
the S part of Osa is sharing, so that you share your take on whatever you're making the observation
like
about.
I was eating a pizza at the Coliseum and it spilled all over
like
me.
have you been to the
something more
the pizza place
specific.
around the corner from there? That like when I was there, this is what I
think
been
share
there
can also stand for specify.
Yeah, that's actually really
Share
good.
and specify, because like you can share a broad observation, but you want to get more specific. And actually in the banter book I just sent you, I talk about
I have
getting
not read that yet.
specific and having opinions, and that being a huge part of creating
But that's what
tension.
makes you different as well. And that's what
Makes you
Kristen's
stand out.
talking about. And I think that's what you're talking about as well, is that you can't just be mediocre. Even if things are made easier for you, you still got to work your personality, because there are millions of people out there.
Right, but you are getting elevated opportunities. You are getting your shot because you're making this extra effort, which they want to see as well.
It's basically like the situation that your app will put guys in is like being at the net for a dunk, but someone's lifted you up.
Yeah, and then it's all on them to do, but they still got to do it right.
So you're able. It's easier to make the dunk, but you still have to have skills to be able to like put it in, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's not supposed to sound perverse. The put
but
it in
can.
part.
Wait, so I want to do one thing. Since you are quick-witted, what would be 2
Shit, I hate this.
observations and specifics or shares that you could do for booty shorts? Because I think that, like, I understand a woman just walking down the street and having potentially no observations and nothing to share, but like a woman lifting up booty shorts, like I feel like that gives you a world of
I
opportunity.
mean, you could say something silly like shopping for your dad.
Yeah, right.
You know, something
bad.
like, because you don't want to go super perverse, you know, like, ooh, girl, those would look
That's not
great
good
on
on
your
you.
ass. And that, because it's not witty and it's gross and whatever. So I think with finding humor, you correlate. So in the banter book I just sent you, you do, I have a little method. It's called like, I think it's OC. It's like yours, and I reference yours, but
Nice.
it's OCA, and it's observe, correlate, and no, it is OCS. Not what's yours?
OSA.
Oh, right. Mine's OCS. So it's observe, correlate, and share. So when you make a correlation between two things, that's where humor comes. So I correlated booty shorts and a father together. They don't always match, but it makes it funny. So you almost want to correlate things that don't make sense in order to bring something funny out. That's my little
I love it.
Thank you. That's my little.
It's obviously explained in great detail.
Yes, it is.
In the book that you can
And it
purchase
shows
from me
examples
very
and,
shortly.
and stuff. Yes, but it shows examples and everything. But in a scenario like that, don't go for the low hanging fruit of like, girl, you look good in those shorts. Go for the opposite, and that will totally make her laugh and be confusing, and she'll be like, oh, who's this guy? If a guy said that to me, I would be like, oh my God, you're so funny. Who are you?
Yeah.
Not that
And
I'm
then-
congratulating
but
my own joke, but
it does. It allows you for more time, and you're more open to hearing from this person who's standing in
Right.
front of you. Because a lot of men forget that it is, listen, as empowered as we are and as equal as we are becoming, it's freaking scary to be a woman and having a man approach you.
So
It is.
what percent of women you think out there are okay with not having a lot of data on somebody and just meeting a random out after one or two text messages back and forth? What percent of the population does that represent?
I think it just
Depends how they've been
Depends.
interacting with each other,
Right.
to be
And the
honest. Because you can make up
attraction.
your own stories and a lot of things can go out the window.
No, literally based on a cyber profiling, an internet profile, and one or two texts back and forth.
Oh, no, never. I think that's the guys that I'm working with that are just excited to be on there. And they're like, oh, woman, I'll go. But generally, I think anyone with standards would not go off of two messages.
Yeah.
They've time is, like you said, women don't want to waste their time. And if they're going to spend 19 dates with, on.
Yeah, but if there is a woman who gets no attention online, who's like suddenly, oh, this person's writing to me and we've talked twice and he's asking
Yeah,
for
but
my
that's not
number.
gonna- if a
But that's
woman's
not who
not
these
getting-
guys want to
yeah,
be dating.
right.
So it's I would say there's a very small chance
Very,
that a
very
woman
small
with little information and little exchange, so that there's no chemistry created or a spark. Yeah, they won't want to go out and meet somebody.
Then I can't understand going back to what you were saying before about a guy not getting that and people not getting that.
Yeah.
They should the book Four Agreements by Miguel Ruiz. Have you guys read that? Where it's one of the things is just don't take things personally. Like here, you just absolutely can't take it personally because it isn't about you. You don't exist yet, which is kind of one of the funny things that when you say have we gotten some pushback, and we've kind of heard it all. But then when people hear our why, it's like, 50-60% of people right off the bat say, yeah, I like this, I get it, solves the problem, perfect. Whether you're a guy who's a player, now you've got a wider net. If you're a guy who just wants more opportunities and good guy who doesn't feel like he's got his shots, okay, now you're getting your opportunities. If you're a guy who just really likes this one girl, okay, now you might get her attention. So it works on a couple different levels. But one of the things that we kind of seen is that if 50-60% people get it up front, 20% are insulted literally by this, and the other 20% just say when they hear our why, they just go, that makes complete sense. And so one of the the pushbacks from that group that really is insulted by this is saying like, well, how can you have money in the picture when you're dealing with matters of the heart? And it's really interesting.
Because the heart loves money.
No, but honestly, I'm fascinated by somebody who can look at the world in that way, because there's no heart yet. There's no trust. There's no level of comfort. There's nothing. You don't know this person. So how can you expect them? Like, we're not dealing with the heart yet, and that's the whole point. Let's create the foundation.
That's a really good point.
Yeah,
Let's
sense.
create the environment in which you can establish a little comfort, trust, and then you've got something to deal with. You got a base. So
I
been
do
interesting.
like that the points that they earn can go towards charities.
Yeah, it's cool.
That I think is fantastic, and they can select from charities that you've pre-picked, right? Or select their
Charity
own.
for single men.
No, there's about 15, and they're all revolving around
prostate cancer.
or
Oh, it is for men.
Yeah, I was going to come up with a bad Canadian joke there. I'm not even going to go there. But yeah, they're more, it's all focused on women, children, and animals.
Awesome.
Different organizations around the world.
I think it's absolutely amazing. I think that I like that you're doing podcasts because it does give more time for you to properly explain what's going on. And the more that I hear about it, the more I am a big fan of what you guys are doing. So
where did you come up with the name Cove?
So Cove is a secluded private place somewhere you can get
cool.
into conversation. But the CO for Cove stands for conversation, and the VE is for love. So when you merge the conversation and love together, because you need conversation before you can get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the inspiration.
That's
after
a
a
good
couple.
point too. Lead with that. I like that because I think because that's exactly what you do. Because what you just said a minute ago that there is no love until you get to know each other and have that conversation. It's not love right off the bat. That's a really good point.
How do you figure out if you have chemistry with somebody without conversation? It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming and being on the podcast. I'm glad that you reached out because we were looking for a guest today. So,
and I just happened to be in LA.
You happened to be in LA all the way from Toronto. So thank you so much. Tell people where to get the app. How do they become a part of this? Because it's still in beta testing. You said only women are sending their applications.
Well, starting later this week, men are allowed on, and they have to apply through LinkedIn.
Okay.
So again, it's an application process, but the guys that get in, boy, are they going to be happy because we've got a lot of women on the site.
What are you looking for exactly in the men? You mentioned the women, but what are you screening for in the men?
We want to make sure that they're real. We want to make sure. So one of the things that we are delivering, and this is completely something that we've gotten feedback from women. Like there's obviously in Bumble and Tinder, you've got your bio, and it's pretty much free form, and you can be like, "What do you do?" Well, I'm senior vice president of Tesla. And okay, great. And
hi.
Yeah, exactly. And you did I get your attention with that? Yeah.
Yep. Now, who needs conversation to find love?
Right.
Not me.
And so
she's going to be on the app.
So we're actually grabbing from LinkedIn's API the guys' verified LinkedIn industry information and job title because it's something that women want to see at the end of the day. So if
those
they don't have a certain amount of
bitches.
connections in LinkedIn, they kind of just don't make the cut because we don't really know if this person's real. Could there be very legitimate men and competent men that don't use LinkedIn and don't have absolutely.
You'll find other ways to vet them, I'm sure, in the future.
Yeah.
Interesting. And so, can I ask how much it does cost for them to be a part of this app?
It's free to look. It's pay to play pretty much. It's like you're paying a cover charge to a bar. Just say to
for every
women.
conversation.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not for every conversation. Just to invite women into the Cove. It's kind of like you're buying some tickets.
Oh, they invite women?
Well, yeah. That's how it. That's the whole evolutionary thing.
The men invite the women.
Yeah,
but
and
women
the
are already on it without the men.
The conversation.
No, it's
to the
inviting them
conversation.
into the Cove.
I got
like
it,
their
got it.
private Cove is basically.
I got it.
What
Okay.
Come to my Cove.
Luring you with treats and
Yes.
Can we edit that part? That
Yeah.
last part there? Okay, cool.
So where are
Cove.
the women coming from?
Where
For
they
right
coming
now. So
from?
like for right now.
U.S.
is it
and Canada.
But is it like, so if a guy goes on there, are there like 2 options in Los Angeles, 1 in Chicago? Like, I just wanted them to know they are getting into something that's still in the beginning stages.
Well, it's beginning stages, but we've got more than 1 or 2 in these cities. We've had a couple thousand applicants, and every day now. So we've integrated.
Like, what are your 5 top cities where you're finding the highest concentration of applicants?
Well, we've got some strategic partners in the entertainment industry, and then there's also people that are very connected to the sorority life in certain pockets and markets. So we'll probably be very strong in Florida and Arizona and California, and then in New York because of some strategic partners that are getting involved.
Okay. And what about in Canada? Or do you?
No real plans.
Really?
Well,
nothing
of
in
course.
Not
Toronto?
even supporting your own country? This is horrible.
I know. What kind of Canadian am I? No, it's not that. It's just like like you said, we want to have the people that understand this and then are able to create an awareness at certain levels. So we figure, there's certain people in entertainment and in college.
So what's the link to the site?
It's cove.date, so www.cove.date.
Oh, wow, there's a .date. All right, cool.
There is now. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No,
for
thank you
being
very much.
on
Appreciate
the show,
it.
and thank you for explaining this app. I think we're both fans.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and that's very hard to get Kristen supports.
It is.
So
Wow.
she might like bash you once you leave, but she has just
No, I won't. You're nice.
I'm just joking. I'm joking.
Thank you very much.
And anything you want to promote because you're not driving for Uber anymore, but you're doing other great things.
Well, you guys can listen to my other podcast called Mentally Chill. And
I told 3 of my clients this week to go.
oh,
listen
really?
to
Who
it.
are depressed? Awesome. It's for depression.
Great.
But it's a
Great.
funny show. And then you can hit me up for dating help, I guess.
Yes, because Kristen's
Kristen-
book is going to be coming out very soon, and
KristenCarney.com/dating help.
We should
So
get
I
you
can
on.
write your
We should get you on
profile.
as an expert on Cove
seriously,
as well.
Oh, that would be
actually,
awesome.
her stuff would be amazing. For
I'm very
like,
no
how to-
holds bar. Like,
Yeah,
I'm very honest.
like
I'm
how
kind
to
of an asshole.
write to people online, all of that stuff. It would be a wonderful thing. Anyway, new shows of the Ask Women podcast come out every Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific.
And I'm sorry.
go
Is
on.
it your podcast called Cove Podcast or something?
We don't have a podcast.
Oh,
Oh, no,
okay.
sorry, our podcast.
Oh, I thought you
comes
meant go
out
on. Oh, no, but for yours.
on the
We're-
app.
we're
On the app, they have a
www.
whole
Oh, right.
coaching
Yes.
section.
Right.
As well, so it'll be good. Anyway,
Cool.
new episodes of the Ask Women podcast come out every Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific. Don't be an idiot and download individual episodes. Please go and subscribe so that you can listen to all of our shows, which are wonderful. You guys are awesome, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.